everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackOutBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King DL, Lorne Frey, Grim Clover, Internet, Bloodsport, City of Steel, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So I warned you a little while back about the Arc System Works situation, in which I stated that them not coming out and talking about how Bridget has always been male was a big, major red flag, and everyone should start canceling their pre-orders or their DLC plans immediately. And what do you know? They released a statement saying Bridget is trans now, and as a result of this, I announced formally, along with several other people, that I'll no longer be supporting Arc System Works. I don't believe in this shit. You should never, ever pander to Troons. And of course, this was, pandering. This was virtue signaling. It's obviously not the direction the character should go in. It makes no sense, considering his character arc and just all the stuff. It's bad storytelling, essentially. It's no different than what J.K. Rowling did with Albus Dumbledore, pretending that he was always intended to be gay, when that is obviously not true. But again, it's virtue signaling, pure and simple, and it should be rejected by the audience. So what now, I think? What can we expect to see in the future? Well, I think Arc System Works is on the way out. I do think this is going to be the first in a long line of major red flags that will alienate their pre-existing, established fan base in favor of trying to recapture that Dragon Ball FighterZ hype. I think this is a big part of what this is about, actually, is that Arc System Works received unprecedented success with Dragon Ball FighterZ only because of the license, not because the game itself was particularly good or well made or interesting, but because they finally had an anime IP that was viable. And they're not going to be able to make a sequel to that. They're not going to be able to make a follow-up to it. They're never going to be able to replicate the success. And what's more, they're not going to be able to use their established IPs to recapture that success. So what do? So what they're going to do is they're going to double down on trying to pander to the West. And I do think that's what this Bridget thing is actually about, is them trying to appeal to Westerners and by any means necessary. And I don't see it going over very well. I think people are getting really sick of Troons. I myself have publicly denounced them to the point, as of recently, I no longer believe the LGBT community even exists. I think these people are deranged, that they need to seek real psychological help. I don't see, they need to acknowledge there's something wrong with them, essentially. Especially in the case of Troons, you need to accept the fact that there is something wrong with you. And I think enabling it, I think catering to these kind of people is disgusting. Not only for normal, not only for normies, not only for me, not only for those of us who are against the woke movement, but really, honestly, for the LGBT community as a whole, because I think the community really needs to understand that what they're doing is wrong. And that's not going to happen if so many people are defending them and enabling their nonsense. So I do think Troons in particular need to be told that no, you will never be women. You will never, ever look like Bridget. And it is, I do think the audience is starting to push back against this stuff, because I do think there is reason to suspect that this is going to erupt into bigger controversies. Again, I don't know enough about Arc System Works to say what that might be, but I can tell you for sure that because of this incident, I am not picking up River City Girls 2, which is a completely unrelated property, out of the concern that they could potentially fuck with it. Again, how many people on Twitter are like the idea of Kyoko and Misoko being lesbian relationship? That's something that a lot of people push, right? So obviously Arc System Works could go that angle, but that's not the thing. That's not appealing to me, someone who legitimately enjoys the game, enjoyed the original, enjoyed River City Girls Zero. That's not what I'm looking for. And I imagine what the vast majority of the audience is looking for. But because of this disproportionate representation online, the people who like obsess over this kind of stuff, it feels like there are going to be a handful of companies that go along with these audience alienating premises. And I do think the Bridget thing is one of them. I do think that is something that I find unacceptable, that plenty of people find deplorable. I do think it is going to cause a chain reaction to kind of get people to become more and more skeptical of traditionally Japanese companies. I do think Arc System Works has kind of lost a lot of their goodwill among the community. I do think this is going to be brought up a lot. One of the Blaze Blue creator, I think, just left over this, and there's not left over this, but just left Arc System Works, and there is legit speculation that it might have had something to do with Bridget becoming a tranny. We don't know for sure if that's the case, but I can't imagine this is a decision that went over well, even in-house, right? Like, I can't imagine like such a radical change for an established character like went over well with the developers or with the fan base, especially the Japanese fan base. Like, holy shit, I hear they're very unhappy. So I'm curious, like, what the pushback to this is going to look like. Because in Strive's case, Strive has already sold 1 million copies. It's already well established. Bridget is a DLC character. Is this going to like impact DLC sales, or are we going to see like major declines in sales going forward? I would imagine we are going to see major declines of like in sales of future installments. Like, I don't think people will stop playing Strive, but this is going to be like a negative blow against it. And I do think that like future Arc System Works games are going to be affected by it. And I do feel like the consumers are in the right. I do think they should be upset. I do think they should fight back any way they can. I do think they should boycott the game. I do think they should avoid purchasing it. I do not support woke products in any way, shape, or form. So this is an example of a woke product. Obviously, we have to like define what a woke product is, like going forward, if we're going to like adequately start like organizing these kind of things. But I do think this is an example, a really good example actually, is like changing the established lore of a franchise in order to cater to a specific marginalized group of people. I think that's a very good specific entry point into like what the problem actually is. Because obviously this is coming from someone who thinks like Bridget as a character, as a concept, was degenerate to begin with. And even I am unhappy, right? This isn't something that is just annoying fans of the character or fans of Guilty Gear. It's annoying people outside of that sphere. This was a terrible move to make, I think. It's not going to make them more successful, and it's just going to alienate more and more people until there is no one left.